All right, we're going to continue our check digits. So here we're looking at division by 7 and UPCs, Universal Product Codes. So before we looked at division by 9, and actually in this section I'm going to give us a little hint on how to do this maybe a little bit more easily in Excel. So with division by 7, here's what we've got. Again, there are some examples here. So airline tickets, Avis and National, these are rental car companies. So basically, when you have a rental car, you're going to have some sort of number associated with your reservation. So those use this division by 7 scheme. So basically, the check digit is the remainder after division by 7 of the number itself. So this isn't going to be adding up the digits. It's going to be looking at the number dividing by 7 and then seeing what the remainder is. So in some ways, this is a little easier, but it, of course, depends on your methods. So let's take a look at an example. Find the Avis check digit for the number 501997. So this 6-digit reservation is going to have a 7th digit added onto it. So we're taking the number itself, so the number itself, underlined, right? Not adding these up, the whole number, 501,997, that big number, and we're going to divide by 7 and see what the remainder is. So certainly we could sit here and do that by hand. That would be fine. So we could do 501,997 and do long division style like this and get some stuff and then figure out, okay, remainder blank. That was fine for the smaller numbers we did before. I don't know that I really want to be doing that with these larger numbers here. So we said, well, one thing we could do is equals 501,997 and then divide by 7. Again, 7 this time. And this one I had formatted from before so that it got to a mixed number. So I don't care about the 71,713, right? I would just care about the 6 over 7, the 6 part of this. So the remainder is 6. So that should be my answer. Another way to do this, however, and this is the way that I did not share in the last video, this is a little incentive for watching both videos, is we can use Excel's mod function. This stands for modulo, or using the fact that we have a number as a modulus. And basically what it does is it says input your number, and you can see this on here, number and then divisor. So input your number. For us, that's going to be the original number. So let's remind ourselves, it's 501,997. So 501,997, okay? And then comma, this is going to say divisor. What do you want to divide by? So in this case, we wanted to divide by 7. All right, I close that out. I'm going to hit enter. Oh, look at that. I got 6. I got the same thing that we got when we did the division up here. Now, is it that much faster? I don't know that it's that much faster, right? This is even just doing the basic division and turning it into a mixed number. That's pretty quick. We also don't have to worry about, we had an example last time where the mixed number got simplified, right? Instead of being out of 9, it was out of 3, which can maybe be confusing. So this mod function might be more helpful when we're doing some of the division by 9. With 7, we don't have to worry about the fraction simplifying, right? 7 is prime. So 6 here or 6 here from the mod function. Either way, right? Long story short, our remainder is 6. So that's going to be the check digit. So the check digit equals 6. Cool. All right, let's take a look at another one involving this division by 7. So is the American Airlines ticket with the 10-digit ID number 215-003-0834, is that valid? Basically what we're saying is, hey, that 4 is a check digit. Is that a valid number, or did someone maybe type this in wrong? So here's what we do. We look at the rest of the number, and that's what we're going to divide by 7. And in theory, the remainder should be 4, right? If this is a valid number, that should be the case. So we're going to take that and bring it over here to Excel. I'm actually going to pull this to the side just a little bit so we can keep that in view. So we have, again, 2 different ways to do this. So we can say 215,003,083, right? Leave the 4 off because that is the check digit. So we're going to divide this by 7. And we can change this guy. So instead of being a decimal, we can change it to a fraction. And so it looks like our remainder should be 1, right? The number on top of the fraction portion. We can also use that mod function. So let's just remind ourselves of that mod function. So it's going to be 215,003,083. All right, so all of the number without the check digit on there, right? If it tells us the check digit's already on there, that means it's the last one, it's 4. So we're going to do this number, we're going to divide by 7, and this will give us the remainder. And sure enough, this agrees with what we got here, which is that the remainder should be 1. Well, that's bad news because we got a remainder of 4, right? We were told that, hey, this guy right here is a 4. So is this a valid number? It's a big no, right? The check digit should be 1. Keep in mind, if you're doing a question like this and it's on an in-class activity or it's on the project, make sure you're justifying it somewhere here in the space. So clarify, something like this. The check digit should be 1 or something along those lines, something to verify, not just a yes or no. Okay, so that's division by 7. And remember that mod function you can use for division by 9 as well. Slightly different process because we sum the numbers. But anyway, here we are. Okay, so UPC. Now we've seen these a million times, and probably most of the time we haven't even bothered to care what it does. We know that the barcode, this is what scans and allows us to just go through and go through self-checkout. We just use the scanner. Everything's good, right? However, there are numbers at the bottom of this, right? And so we would want to say, well, what the heck are those numbers? What are they there for? Well, they identify the product itself and also who's producing that product. So there's a lot of information built in there, but like the other things we've looked at, it has a check digit, which is the last digit. So for any UPC number, so this is kind of given A1, A2, A3. It's basically just telling us those are the digits. A1 is the first digit, A2 is the second, all the way up to A12 is the 12th digit. So it actually, for the little sample I gave us here, I can point out, right, 0, this guy is A1. 4, this guy is A2. 2, this guy is A3, right? All the way up to the very last digit. The first and last digits are pretty small. So this 4 is A12. Okay, so for a UPC, again, Universal Product Code is what that stands for. The computer's programmed to carry out the following computation. So it alternates. It's going to multiply the first number by 3, and then add the second number, then multiply the third number by 3, add the fourth number. So all of the odd numbers, the first, third, fifth, etc., those all get multiplied by 3, and then all the even numbers are just added in there as they are. So we're going to say, is the UPC, here's our first example. Sorry, before I get to that, I should tell you what needs to happen with that sum. So if the result doesn't end with a 0, the computer knows the number's entered incorrectly. That means this sum must end in 0. Right? If it's a correct number, it must end in 0. Another way of saying that is, it is divisible by 10. Okay, so that's maybe something we want to keep in mind. Divisible by 10. Okay, so is the UPC shown above, so this one here, our example one, is it valid? And so basically what we're going to do is take each number, right, and either multiply it by 3 or just, add it to the sum as it is. So I'm going to pull this number over to Excel just to make life a little bit easier. Let me clear out some of the stuff we were doing before. And I might need a little more space. So I'm just going to do this, get it out of the way here so I can record that number. So the number that we have, 042272 010264. Right? So it should be a 12-digit number, so make sure to include the little 0 at the beginning, the little 4 at the end. And now we're going to say, okay, what should happen, right? We should alternate back and forth. So I'm going to have a sum here. So I'm going to do 3 times the first number, so that's 4. And then we're just going to leave the second number, 2, plus 3 times the third number, which happens to be 2. And then we're just going to include the fourth number. So, right, all of the even ones we're just going to add in. So 2, 7, 0, 0, 6, those ones are just getting added in. The other ones are getting multiplied by 3. You may want to think about whether or not you could come up with some sort of template for this type of thing that might be efficient. We know how to, make references to different cells. So that's something to think about. Okay, so where was I? I was at 7. Okay, and then 3 times 2 is the next number, plus 0 is the next number, plus 3 times 1 is the next number, plus, well, here's another 0. You don't really need to add these zeros, but I want to kind of keep in mind that I have this alternation going where I multiply by 3 and where I don't. So the next one's 3 times 2, and then we're just going to add in 6, and then finally 3 times 4. Okay, so this number is supposed to end in 0. Sure enough, it does, right? This thing is 60. It ends in 0. Another way to say that is it is divisible by 10. So is it valid? Yes, it is. Right, so yes. Right, ends the scheme, the weighted sum is what we say, the weighted sum. It's not just a regular sum because we're not just adding up the digits, we're giving different weights, a weight of 3 to the first digit, a weight of 1 to the next digit, and so on. So the weighted sum equals 60, which most importantly ends in 0. Okay, cool. Now, does the UPC given here, does it have an error in its coding? Basically what it's saying is, does it end in 0 or is there something wrong? So I'm going to copy this guy and say, all right, Control C. Let's bring that over to Excel and see what the story is. So there's my number. Because I already went through the process of putting in the 3 times this, I can just go in here and replace these numbers. So my first digit is a 3. Whoops, too many 3s. Sorry, I got a sticky keyboard there. My next digit is a 4. My next digit is a 0. My next digit is a 2. All right, so I can kind of, once I've done this once, it's pretty quick to go through here. My next digit's a 1, and then a 1, and then an 8, 2, 1. Let's see, did I skip something in here? I might have. 1, and then a 1, and an 8, 2, 1, 2, 8. Oh, I see. Yes, I just didn't do the last digit. Okay, plus 5. Great. 79. Huh, I'm wondering if I missed that on the last one. Let's check in a moment. Okay, so we get 79. So if 79 is our sum after doing all of this, that's going to be a bit of an issue, right? So our weighted sum, let's pop back over here. So our weighted sum is 79. And of course, we look at that last digit, right? It is not 0. 79 is not divisible by 10. So is there an error? Yes, there is an error. Okay, cool. All right, and actually I realized what happened in Excel for our first one. So there was actually in some ways a little bit of an error. So what happens is, right, the very first number was a 0, and if we put that into Excel, I copied that over or typed it over, it says, hey, you don't need a 0 at the beginning of the number. So it took it away actually. So what you can do if you have a 0 here, so I'll do it again, it's just going to take it away. Right, so I typed it in up here in the formula bar and it said, hey, I'm going to take it away. What you can do is you can use an apostrophe, and what it will do is keep whatever you type in there. So it's not going to make any changes to it. So just a single apostrophe in there will, and then you hit enter, it will actually keep everything so you can reference it. So that's one way to do it. Of course, you could also do this by hand. I recalculated this, so I put it back in, 3 times the first number, add the second number, 3 times the third number, add the fourth number, etc. Actually came up with the same weighted sum, so our conclusion was correct, but we should have just had that 0 included. So small error, but that of course can make a big difference. Again, if you want to do this in Excel, that's fine. If you would rather do this by hand, that's fine. Totally up to you on that side of things.